And welcome back. Any Given Monday returns. How's everybody going? Over here, we've got the Michael Gordon of West Mitchie over here.
Fuck, bro.
How are you there, big guy?
The only difference between me and those motherfuckers is I don't get caught because I'm not an idiot, I'm not a moron, and I've got more than a fucking OP 25, so it's all good. It's all good in the hood over here, bro.
Before we got on there.
And also, don't live on the border of a state.
Yeah.
You know, like that's a straight away giveaway. Live in the suburbs of Brisbane.
Yeah, because no one notices people.
It's like
do it.
It's like Walter White in Breaking Bad. He did it out of an RV in the desert. These motherfuckers are doing it in the most watched place. You know, like
which is, you know. Why would an RV in the middle of a fucking desert stand out? Who knows?
Well, it wouldn't.
Who knows how they would have caught him? But no, that's good, man. Don't get so offensive.
It's a good start, right?
I know. But anyway, if that kind of stuff was up in my forte,
what kind of stuff are you talking about, man? Yeah. Whoa, man, whoa. This is gone. Jeez, it's like a bloke's defensive.
I like that shirt though.
Yeah,
right,
man.
man.
Yeah, it was good. Went to the old party. Shout out to Dave Wheely. Asked for a shout out.
50th.
Yeah, the big
60th.
60th, big fella. It was a good time.
Happy birthday, Dave Wheel. Shout out.
Shout out, big time.
Dano, what's happening with you, lad?
Not a lot. I've just been working a bit. I went down the coast and saw my auntie and uncle and stayed the night last night. My uncle's a fan of the show. He's
we've been meeting a few fans around the place.
Yeah, he's bought a few shirts. So the pair of us were just standing around the backyard drinking beers in our Any Given Monday shirts all night. And he hooked me up
Mick
with
Gordon's
this,
a big fan of the show.
Have you seen one of these before, right?
He hooked me up with the this Thanks Lockie shirt he got on Darren Lockie's last game. So it's got your seat numbers and shit
I didn't
printed on them. So I got that.
I didn't realise they had that much detail on them. I remember people saying they got one back in the day.
Yeah, it was pretty flash. I thought I'd better run it for the night and shout out Uncle Billy and Auntie Tina. It was
nice.
Good night. We just sat around, chewed the fat and
got on it.
Got pissed. I did a box of stubbies in about 2 hours and
what stubbies were you drinking?
Just golds.
Oh yeah.
And then we got onto the rums and me and Bill went pretty much through a bottle of rum as well. And yeah, woke up this morning with a rocking headache, but came back and went to the beach today and sort of just made my life worth living for now.
Was it Trilby with you? The missus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I wondered what the hell you were doing. Where that one was going.
She was there, and Mum came down the coast too. So we drove Mum home, and then we went to the beach and did a bit today. And
whereabouts down the coast was it again?
They live on they're filthy flash rich. They live in this gated community at Helensvale. So
yeah, that's about to get a lot.
So they're filthy rich.
So
that's about to get a lot more popular come Tuesday.
How will they make their money, Dan?
Oh, I don't know.
Not like Mick Gordon.
I don't ask questions.
Because we're looking for sponsors on Any Given Monday, and if you
they support small business, so you just
yeah.
I don't know. I just don't ask questions. You know, that's my thing. Because most of the time,
don't ask questions. I don't have to tell any lies.
Yeah, it's one of those things you don't want to know the answer to. So, well.
And how was the party, right, man?
Yeah. It was good. Good to catch up. Had a bit of a discussion with several people.
Do you have a few or what?
Yeah, I had a couple. It was good. It was good. Now, a couple beers on a Sunday arvo. Nice little bar there at the Gap. I've been out there for a while in that neck of the woods, but it was good. I saw just before I came here a couple of signing news in the NRL. It's deals that we saw coming.
Are you talking off in Gowie or what?
Yeah, the Offahan Gowie said a bit of a domino effect.
Yeah, well, with him going, that frees the Tigers up to actually release Aloy, which was
he's already signed.
A bit of a blow up.
So they're both already green lighted.
Yeah,
and
so
done.
Manly will claim his services for next season. And a year after that too, got 2 years, didn't he?
Yeah. They want him to. It might have been 3 because he got a decent bit more than he was on there. But he's a handy upper. He's 25, so he's still coming into his own as a front rower. But that softens the blow of adding Fanua Blake.
Oh, definitely. With the loss of Fanua Blake, there's a big void there. Like that, Paseka's a good footballer, but. You need some experience.
So
row,
I imagine it'd be Paseka or OLA who would start. You know, one of them would be the first drop, but either or, needed a bit more punch.
Well, either way, it could work too, because if you had Paseka starting, it's a good start, and Aloy is a very worthy bloke to come off the bench and fill that spot. And also, if you had Aloy start, Paseka just keeps doing what he's doing, bringing impact off the bench. So Manly sort of went alright getting Aloiai there, considering that 6 weeks ago we're talking about the loss of one of the best front rowers in the last 2 years. And it was a bit of a hole, but now they seem to have it have a bit sorted. And it's all from the Alphen-Gowie domino effect. So
it's funny that once, you always knew by pre-season started for a lot of clubs. And I think
that's when I was going to touch on that, right? It's crazy. It's crazy how, like, because of COVID and all that year, this preseason, man, these motherfuckers would be like, fucking hell. Like, a lot of them obviously that didn't make finals and stuff, it's fine for them, but you're talking a lot of those clubs that are the top 8, and then preseason comes around so early. Do you think that it creates an effect where preseason isn't as hard for them this time around because they're going in from match fitness to a preseason?
Some wouldn't. Like, if you were like the guys who were in these Origin bubbles, they'll be still pretty fit. They won't have to be back till early January, so they could really easily maintain their fitness, like even with a couple of weeks off, because they've been training hard in prep, and just in case they were either, unless they were playing or if they were about to be called in. So,
and you'd think that you'd think because the Origin boys would get maybe like another couple of weeks off. Maybe not New South Wales because they didn't do anything in the third game, but
they won't be back till early Jan. I know Cherry Evans. They
also,
don't expect
and Cheese and Munster won't be back till Feb
or ever. They're just on the piss forever now. They're done.
They don't need to play footy for the rest of their lives. They could make money off merch, doing tours,
drink up tours. I think it's going to be a lot dependent on each side. Like, obviously, some sides will come back, and if a side that had a good year, like South, they might come back, and they won't have to flog everyone too hard because they played deep into the finals, and everyone will still be fit, and they don't. Whereas sides like the Bronx, we come in, we don't have a choice, just punch fuck out of everyone because you got no
new coach. You
have to just fucking
new S&C. They're going to have to revamp a few things. Kevy already making changes. Yeah. There's rumours about Lodge. It's hard to sort of, like, you hear rumour now, then it'll get...
Well, he's going to Warriors, isn't he?
Yeah, but it's not 100%, but it would be. There's talk they're keen, but his father-in-law is the recruitment manager, and his brother-in-law is signed with him in Sean O'Sullivan. So this will get denied today. By later in the week, it's likely he's signed. And they want to, and there was talk they want to bring in John Asiata, who from the Cows, who doesn't have a club yet.
Oh, if we bring Asiata in, I'll lose it. He's probably, for me, the most overrated bloke in the NRL. And some of the raps he gets,
I've got another rumour that was told to me quite recently.
But before that,
Kurt Capewell, possible Bronco, very soon. Kevy wants him. It's just if they can do the deal. He's a Queensland boy.
Well, we just freed up $550 in the cap with.
Where'd this rumour come from? Clarkie's Corner?
No, not old Clarkie. I don't know. I haven't glanced at his stuff lately, but no, this is from a bloke who spoke to Capewell recently.
A big old bull that we might know.
Oh, possibly, and he might have. He might
like the colours white and green.
He might have box seats at that new stadium in Los Angeles too.
Okay.
Yeah. So they want him. It's just a matter of getting it done.
Let's not mention any names, but maybe S. Johnson. Oh no, it's too obvious. Let's go Steve J.
Sean Johnson told us. Good on Sean. But yeah, that'd
Wouldn't
be great.
That be good? Very handy.
Form he's in, and he's that sort of bloke who can. He's a big awkward thing. He can make a lot of breaks. He's not slow, but he's not lightning fast. But he would be a handy asset, and he's got that offload and things like that. He's quite skillful. And he's got very underrated.
And he's got a shade of versatility too, like whether you can actually have him in there in the centres for a couple of games if it come to it. But if it didn't, he's well versed in the back row, and he can.
You could play him on the wing. Yeah. He was playing lower grades on the wing. So exactly. Like say there was an emergency.
Worst comes to worst. Yeah. You do worse. You do worse off than having Capewell on your side. So
and just goes to show the old how it all goes down. Like you don't know what's going on behind the scenes per se. Like this Lodge thing, it was all but done deal. They were saying. Then it was denied. I don't believe nothing now because we're likely to be talking in a week, and Lodge has signed a 3-year deal and heading to New Zealand. And I saw with them, they've got a whole bunch of the Aussie-based blokes. They train at Kiama down near Wollongong. They've got, and Nathan Brown was saying they've got S&C blokes and coaching staff and other people like who are, just like doing mentoring stuff with them. So they'll be all primed to go, but he's confident that everything will fall into place, but they can play in New Zealand.
It must be hard. Like, imagine
shit,
trying to come into a new club and then you get given the task of trying to rally the troops when you got boys stuck in Australia, some in New Zealand, pre-season starting early because you had a shortened year, like a shortened season that finished later in the year. You just have so many different things to contend with straight away. And when you get to a new club, all you want to do is get everyone together and fucking rally like Kevy's trying to do. But poor Brownie just had come in and do the best. He had
to do the 2-week quarantine over there, and he openly admits he hasn't had a lot to do with Roger Tilvashashek yet. They would have spoken on the phone, but you haven't been in the right place to be able to have face-to-face meetings with the bloke. But I think they'll improve. I think there's a lot of sides that'll improve. All those sides that miss the 8, I think all of them, all of them will improve. It's just if you can do enough to get into the 8 now, and who knows, like with the way the rule changes, if they stick with certain rule changes, and that will affect, like you were saying, Freddie, about how much pre-season, and do you put in more cardio and less deadlifts sort of work?
Like more actual strength and conditioning rather than...
And the injury problem was a massive role thing too.
Well, last year they didn't know these new rules were going to come into effect because we didn't have them until the COVID break. So now with the pre-season where all these masterminds can sort of work out what they need to do to utilise it, I'm sure a side like Melbourne will come in and they'll know exactly how to train to get the best out of
Robinson.
And the Roosters the same. Even Ivan at Penrith will sort of get his troops going.
And a lot of those
Wayne.
Those bottom 8, there'll be a lot of those coaches got to sit back and watch and take on board what successful methods they can do.
The two knee reconstructions I've had was always coming off seasons that I concentrated heavy on my strength and conditioning and put weight on, because obviously we're all very quad dominant. So we, like when we're squatting, when we're doing all our, like we're lunging, we're squatting, we're doing all that kind of shit. We're very like 80% quad and 20% hamstring. So a lot of footy players don't put enough into their hamstrings. And when I on my second knee recon, he said, when you're coming out, when you're doing your rehab, you put so much emphasis on that hamstring because it's the hamstring that helps protect that kind of when you get into that sort of motion that makes your ACL go. So you see a lot of boys that when they pack on the weight and they come back as like Greg Inglis in that off season that he got real crank, but I don't know if he had a major injury that year. But it's like though that heavy building off season is hard for your ligaments and your to like grow with that.
I was listening to Shandor Earl talking to Dean and Kemp when I was driving home the other night, and Shandor said when he'd spoken to Bellamy and Bellamy said, mate, we're going to give you a year deal. He said he was that ridiculously fit and all these things. And he said in the first 3 weeks he did pre-season before he did his ACL, because he'd done it once. I don't know if it was the same knee when he was like 17. He said he was that fast. He goes, he was as fit as he possibly could. He was as fast as he possibly could. He was as strong as he possibly could. And that's why they threw him the lifeline too. And as people have said, he's a feel-good story. Things like that. So he was at his premium. Like, who knows? He played probably 3 games for Sunny Coast later that year, and through being as fit as in as good a nick as he was post the injury, that gave him the opportunity to play some games that year. But
especially in a like an NRL these days where there's so many injuries going on, and it's there's an emphasis massively on fatigue. So even if blokes aren't injured, blokes are getting rested and shit like that. So there's opportunities for players to come in and make something of themselves, even if you are just making the most of your time. You get a few starts, or even whether that be through injury or someone getting rested, or you just finally breaking your way into the bench. It's probably the way to go.
That's it. And one of the things, like going back to the hamstrings, the funny difference between like if you're NRL, NFL, AFL players, so there's exercise Nordic drops, and I think you would have done them because I programmed them for you last year when you were doing preseason for us. Nordic drops is where someone's holding your ankles and you're lowering down to the ground as slow as you can, and you probably noticed that you don't lower down slow, you fucking fall like a tree. Well, that's what I do. AFL players that is so much running, so much hamstring work. Obviously, they're kicking left and right foot. I've heard stories of AFL players that lower down like this and then they extend out from their knees over the ground, then come back and then bring it back up. Just fucking unbelievable. Like, and it shows the difference of like where we're so much of like we fucking squat heavy, we deadlift heavy,
it's all about your trade. Like if you're a painter, you're not showing up with a jackhammer, you know. So when rugby league players are doing their pre-seasons, they're sort of focusing more on those major categories like strength and shit like that for what they're doing. Whereas the AFL boys, they know they're running 8 to 10 Ks a game, and it is all leg speed and hamstring based and stuff.
And
like
their
that.
kicks, their feet are hitting them in the face.
Oh,
you know?
100%. So and their flexibility is unbelievable compared to rugby league players. Fuck me dead. Some of those blokes, you have to be that flexible to get your body that high off the ground, the ability to jump and step and weave and kick and all that shit.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But that's what I was saying. Like, they train for that. That's why they're so good at it. Whereas we train for other things. You don't see anyone in the AFL deadlifting 350 kilos like Maaates Tapau. Like,
I remember a story about. Remember Jana Pittman? She was a 400 meter hurdler, Olympic hurdler. Yeah. She trained with Geelong.
She was actually in a movie that my daughter watched the other day. It was like some.
She was in a movie I watched the other day too.
Movie.
They did this run.
Are you talking porn?
No.
The Geelong boys used to do this run around Centennial Park, and she beat everyone home except for Gary Ablett Jr. And Ablett early on, he wasn't a real good trainer, but you know that you're not going to last if you're not up for it. And like you're saying, horse of the courses. Like if you walked into an NFL weights room and saw the small buses that they put on the bar to lift because of the explosive power and that sort of shit, like, is what you do. Like, and adapting to those new rule changes, it was hard for some clubs. And you look at the injury list of everybody. Everybody was, feeling it. Like,
oh yeah, 100%.
And so it worked out pretty well with certain blokes. Like some blokes coming into the season later on, like not getting a run early, that turned out to be like a godsend sometimes for some of those. So some of those blokes, like Corey Allen wasn't even getting a. Remember, he didn't get a run for ages. What odds would you have get if someone said to you, I bet you this bloke, he'll make the Origin squad, or he'll be the starting fullback by the end of the year. They'll go close to a grand final, and that.
He reminds me of kind of like an Adam Mogg story, doesn't he? Like Adam Mogg, remember when Adam Mogg came into Origin, everyone was like, and I think it was seriously on the paper, it was like, without the profanity, it was, who the fuck is this guy playing on the wing?
When Mogg, I was at home watching TV, and it came up kind of on the bottom of the Foxtel thing, and just said somebody from Canberra coming into the Queensland side. I thought it was Clinton Schafosky at first, because I would have never fucking.
But I heard that he was on the boat. He was on a nice edge, but then they heard that he could scull 6 beers over the Hornybrook, and they're like, fuck it, he's a Queenslander.
And he scored 2 games, 3 tries. So those 2 games, who knows whether he would have played Origin
remember
again next year.
That first one was like where it was the first kind of body out, but ball in.
Yeah, Folau style finish where you're thinking, how do you stop this? And
he's just all effort. It's the whole reason
the tackle on Gaznia. Do you remember that
corner where he just catches it, drags it? That's the thing that a lot of people were talking about after Origin a couple of weeks ago. Even New South Wales people are just saying that Queenslanders, we just pick blokes and they get the job done. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. If you're in the Queensland jumper, you just go out and perform in that jersey. Whereas New South Wales have picked blokes and used them wrong, like Dylan Walker, for example. They picked Dylan Walker and played him out of position.
He was the 14th man at one stage, played about 8 minutes.
Played him out of position 8 minutes in crucial time and ended up losing.
When he ended up starting as a centre, he was solid. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So they're just game. Whereas Queensland, it doesn't matter who they pick or where they put them, everyone just sort of stands up. Like, there's blokes that, we say it all the time, we've said it a couple of times in the last few weeks when talking about Origin, but blokes like your Gagais, your Lil Immons, your Nate Miles, all these fellas that just for their state are unbelievable, and then for club average first graders. But whereas there's not many people you can look at in the New South Wales side.
Look at the story with Tim Gladsby, because they knew he was well coached at Melbourne. He came in. His defence around the middle of the ruck was very strong. They didn't want him to outshine, and then the Telegraph in Sydney was had the back page, Tim who?
Yeah.
I'm sure they remember him when he won the series. You know, he
Yeah.
came in and performed the role that they needed to. You don't need everyone playing like Josh Papali.
That's it. But when we reach Origin, it's also Origin. Everyone knows it's a different style of football, and how no matter how many times they say that they don't ref it differently, they do.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And I think that it matches. You find what plays it matches
what
to,
fit.
and that's why like you guys and stuff, they thrive on that style of rugby league. It's like Papali. Like I think. Obviously, with Raiders, the last couple of years he's been killing it. But remember when he kind of fell out of favour?
He played for Samoa at that 2017 World Cup you were in. He came back fat, unfit.
Yeah.
They made the semis, but only just because they were in by benefit being in the right pool. Like and there was to get through. He didn't play. They'd play Australia in the quarter and got schooled up. He didn't look. He looked far from an Origin player. Now Papali. You know, if you're going into that last month of footy, him and I would say him, Jesse Bromwich and Welch would have been the three best front rowers in the game.
Yeah.
You know, because they were laying it. And when they contained Papali a bit in that prelim, the Storm boys got up and won.
Right, man. I wanted to ask you about the loss that your club had during the week. We didn't talk about it last week, did we?
Young Keith Titmarsh died. He had like a full body like cramp after training. The funny thing is he'd passed medical, like they did a medical when they all came back to training, and he was a young man coming through. Like he'd been there since he was 15, like Western Suburbs kid playing for Manly. That was his dream. They had him earmarked to make a debut. They thought he was getting better. He obviously didn't get a chance to play much footy this year because he had too many blokes in front of him, but. He scored the game-winning try. He was only 18.
I saw that clip.
Yeah, and they called him up to 20s for the last month or so, 6 weeks. He scored the game-winning try when they upset a red-hot Parasite. And this was the thing. It's just horrific. So they've given him a number, like a first grade, a player number, so he'll always be remembered in history at the club.
As soon as I heard that, did you guys think about the preseason training day that he would have had? Like that, I know it probably had nothing to do with it, but I thought that motherfucker, because they said that he started feeling ill and stretched down.
Yeah.
So I thought he just got fucking flogged for the day, and then something happened after that, because what they come out and say that he passed away from an illness.
Yeah, I didn't get to see much more about it.
They rushed him straight to hospital.
Okay.
There was nothing. There's been nothing because they obviously haven't done an autopsy on the poor kid yet. But it was just one of those things. Like he was declared fit to play, to train. And
but
play.
as league players, that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Yeah.
I'm like the sessions that those boys would go through.
Oh, and the heat at the moment as well, like stuff like that. It's all it all compounds.
And hopefully it's got no connection with that.
Oh, 100%,
it's underlying 100%. Issues that
and
we don't know.
And that is
of,
obviously something that would be investigated, because it was stifling hot and things like that, which it probably doesn't. But there are days that people can just drop dead.
Yeah.
Like in park footy, the reason that you have to be like with the registration and that, it was like Wynnum Juniors had an open two side. They were short one day. They asked a past player to have a game. He played. He wasn't a registered player. He just ran the ball up at some point and died. Had a heart attack. You know, just like on the field. Like that man would have been able to go to work. He was only just coming to watch or was just whatever. But that was the thing, why they're more diligent on making sure players are registered and things like that. So at an NRL level, they have the right doctors and everyone. They do all the tests. They're not putting you in any jeopardy.
No.
Like that they don't have to.
Yeah, any unnecessary danger to anyone. But
I remember
saying that, there's always an element of no one knows what the fuck's going to happen next.
Yeah.
So it's like the young fella was declared fit. I'm sure he was fighting fit. He's been playing footy his whole life, and gets to a point where he goes to one training session and then he dies. Obviously, we don't know what of yet, but it could be of anything. Like it could have nothing to do with footy. It could have nothing to do with anything. He could have just his heart just goes, right, that's enough. So
and that's the thing. Like people have died before in situations not similar to that. Like Jason Analark was a bloke who played for Manly. and he was walking home after trophy night, like the
JA.
Prezzo night, and he fell off a cliff and died. Like things like that. Those things are fucking.
Did he fall off a cliff, or you
Fell
reckon they
from-
jumped?
Why would he jump off a cliff when he was like a first grader?
Who knows? Why do 19-year-olds kill themselves after?
No, he fell. They found evidence that he fell.
Oh,
it was
okay.
just one of those things, mate. It's a horrific thing, and hopefully the kids remembered. And Jason Saab, who they just signed, is a long time friend of the kids. That's why he came over from St George. They were meant to carpool together, and that they were like tight mates.
Fuck.
And those sort of things, like, you know, like people have been involved with them for some of these kids for a long time. Like, you know, watch them come through the ranks.
And with did you see him as a prospect that you're going to
Front row,
you were going to watch
thought,
for a lot of years?
I thought so.
Manly?
Like, he'll end up in there.
Yeah.
Just who knows when. And in a short season like last year, you know, they've got to go with the tried and tested, barring injury. But this kid, he had potential, man. He was going to play. He would have played NRL, and it's like living that dream. Like someone described this the other day as, if you're a doctor and you studied all your life to get your doctorate, you know, that's
I'd be going straight into breast enhancement if I was a doctor.
That's considered an enormous achievement. But with the rugby league, you make your debut. It's not. People don't think of things like that.
Yeah,
it's just not. Like, but it is. It's the same sort of thing. You've been since
something you've been working at since you were before you even.
He was this young man striving for that dream, and he goes to work like we all do every day, and unfortunately didn't come home to his family.
Fucking sucks.
Matt Ballin, he's on the staff there at Manly. He rode with him in the ambulance, so I'm sure Matt Ballin is not going to forget this anytime soon, knowing that you're one of the first people to see him alive, last people to see him alive, I should say.
Yeah.
So, you know, having to make those calls to kids' families, it's the way it is, and it's a fucking it's a horrible thing.
It is horrendous.
And I hope, you know, he'll be remembered, the young fella, all his mates and that, and it'll spur some of those young blokes on. Josh Schuster put up a touching tribute to him on Insta, just talking about how he promises to look after his young family, and he promises to push on for him and try and achieve his dreams, because he knows that's what he'd want him to do.
Yeah.
And that, but very sad. And
on a bit of a
I hope we don't ever have to see shit like that ever again.
Unfortunately,
100%.
On a bit of a less somber note, Jason Saab coming over to Manly, righty. What do you make of that?
He's pretty handy.
Good young prospect. They didn't have to get rid of Ruben Garrick either, which was
so
one
they've
of the
got
things
plenty
they
of
thought
depth
they were going to do. Yeah, so
they've got in a trade-off. See, that was another one of these deals we just spoke of.
Yeah, which was
that was gone.
It was up in the air for a long time, then it was gone, and now it's all of a sudden he's inked. So, what Manly have struggled with in the last 2 years is a bit of depth. So every year they just seem to get so many injuries. So last year, they got a great side. They could have been in the 8, but the injuries just riddled them. So if they could pick up, well, as they're doing, like Aloi's handy, Saab's handy, losing Fanil Blake.
They signed a young fella from the Roosters too, young winger who made a debut at the Roosters. So they're seeing that. To me, they're identifying that as in a bit of a lack of depth.
If any of those Sydney clubs want to pick up a cheap player, my boy Corey Maitland, I've been watching him on Facebook. He's been getting back into shape.
I've watched him train. Corey Maitland.
Even though Mark Hofferdale says it looks like he swallowed a sheep, he'll get rid of that sheep and he'll be carving up.
So anybody there in Sydney, you're searching for a fullback, give Corey Maitland a call.
Yeah, not just a fullback, bro. He covers half. He covers hooker. He fucking covers anything.
Like, so he's getting back into
nuts.
It. Look, he'll be back, and let's hope he. Do you reckon the USA will ever play again?
I got no idea.
Yeah, well, let's hope they'd play. It's been a downward spiral since 2013. Let's hope that can rise and they can get some people in there getting it happening.
They're no Uruguay, are they, right?
Yeah, not really.
Uruguay.
No, we actually...
no Jamaica either, they're Jamaican me crazy.
Uruguay, we actually have an international on the 28th of February. We're there. Anyone from USA Rugby League, my advice, give Steve Johnson a call. He'll help you sort a few things out. And you could do worse than make Offerdale coach. That's
what, the Uruguay?
No, the USA. You boys make Offerdale coach.
and we play Uruguay.
No, well, we'd probably beat. As I've
Fuck,
said.
hope the scoreboard's got for 3 fucking numbers on
Oh,
it when we play you motherfuckers.
please.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, please. You got
I'll
forwards.
do what I did in Connecticut where I fake the kick. Everyone turns around to run after the kick and I just run through because I didn't actually kick.
You wouldn't even be the 5th best fucking half
Bro,
on the field.
I'll score 10 tries then come and fuck you up as the coach. Cunt.
Motherfucker.
Go toe to toe. It'll be
You
fucking...
you got fucked up playing the shittest team in the comp at
Old
Mitchie.
Jake Paul your ass, motherfucker.
Oh, please, Tontine fit. Blokes who wear shoes like this ain't fucking up nobody. Hey, man, how's it going there? Hey, fucking, we just went and rolled some fucking 13-year-old kid for them shoes. Fucking,
Well, I don't look at 13-year-olds, but anyway, onto a more adult note.
That was the best 5 minutes of my life. Watching you two bicker back and forth. And that was good. I really enjoyed that.
But yeah, so I'm pretty devoted about Offengowie. I love him so much.
he was playing good a couple of years ago. Well, Origin squad, so you got to be going
yeah.
fucking pretty well. It's funny too
So-
how you can fall out of favour.
So we're going into it's the off season, right? So usually all the players make all the wrong decisions.
Yeah.
So in the off season, do the referees make all the right decisions?
It's got to be. Well, it stands to
why you-
reason.
Comedy
doesn't it?
gold. I just can't.
Stands to reason. That was
that was like pre-written.
That was classic. As soon as you came out with it, I was like, "Oh, this is a bit." But no, that's fucking good. Very funny. How long did it take you to think of that? It's pretty accurate, but
Mate, that joke probably is about a couple of hours in the making.
yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After laying down some pipe, as in pipe, I mean fucking throwing rope. As in throwing rope, I mean coming.
I thought you meant
All over the shop.
pipe as in ice pipe there for a minute. I was going to say, wow, does this shock anybody in this room or any of the listeners? No, it does not.
That reminds me, our boy Hendo signed with Gundy.
Yeah, I know. I told you.
Jeez.
Yeah, he's mates with a lot of the McGrady boys. They'll be strong.
I told Offerdale was asking me about him, and I go, mate, he's a fucking gun.
he's a freak.
And playing their sort of footy, they'll play.
Oh,
he'd love it out there. Fuck yeah.
And you look at Biwa and that Sunny Coast comp, they are adding players left, right, and centre. So they should be up there with the amount of bodies they're throwing in. Like, Gundy will be interesting, like, out there, because you don't hear much about the Toowoomba Rugby League, like, besides being recruiting. But so far, they've got, like, Gundy have got, Travis Waddell, player coach at hooker, so he'll give them plenty out of there.
Jesus.
You got Joey Henderson at fullback,
Yeah.
and apparently there's a
So
couple more.
Waddell's
McGrady
captain
boys.
coach, eh?
He's
Fuck, that's handy.
taken. He's
Yeah,
taken
so-
over the lofty shoes of the mayor of Goondiwindi, Mark Offerdale. So let's see if he can do it.
He probably won't dip into the old fucking cash register though. So.
Oh, whoa. But there,
No,
and there'll be a few more blokes sign. You'd imagine all those sort of clubs would be getting into it soon because there's blokes who haven't played for 12 months.
Yeah.
And
that's
this will be interesting.
So one story come up and I sent you guys. Obviously, I send you some things that I know you guys have already seen, but that St. Helens finish.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that for a sec?
It was absolutely crazy.
What a game. It just, and there's one. Oh,
It was crazy.
Bevan-
I didn't know they
Bevan-
weren't playing in front of crowds over there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
That
it's
was
not,
so. I watched like that last 15 minutes, and then and you know it kind of takes away from the experience for him. But it can be like they see over here, we're playing in front of 50,000 people.
Yeah.
Then over there, and that finish, man. So the
It was
field goal hit
grandstand.
the
Hit the post.
It hit the crossbar
Crossbar.
and bounced back, and then Bevan French.
yeah.
He
No, it hit the top of the post, came straight
That's
down.
it. Yeah, it was the top. Wasn't crossbar. It was the top.
it came
It
straight down.
Yeah.
Bevan French watches it bounce, and
Like that would have gone over from 60 out.
It was a ginormous kick.
Yeah.
And just the way Bevan French lets it bounce. That one.
It took one bounce.
You never
towards-
know the way.
It took
rugby
one
league
bounce
ball's
towards the
gonna bounce.
sideline, towards a dead ball, and then stopped. And he went to sleep on that. He'd had a good game other than that. He threw the final pass to try. They were throwing bombs up to him all day. He was gobbling them.
Yeah.
But that one thing
But
you
also,
remembered
he
for,
comes forward and the bounce just goes.
Yeah.
Some days you're not meant to win.
You just never
Yeah.
know where.
And
where the bounce
Makinson
of the
was
ball goes. So
Makinson
sometimes-
was hitting that from a fucking wide angle too.
Yeah.
Like either or it was, and then he went to sleep on it when it bounced, and he thought it's going dead.
Yeah.
And
So are they
that's
gonna do a World Club challenge?
I don't
Club
think so.
challenge.
Doubt it.
No, they've said that because they're in real bad.
They're
over there.
they're almost finished a 4-week like complete lockdown because they had like another massive outbreak over there. So they've got cases in the tens of thousands.
I've got a mate in London. He put up photos of him and his missus out walking when they could, and it looked fucking bare for a place like London. I was surprised. I thought he was out in the country or something.
And the Queen's probably freaking out. Like, she's 700 and she's like, no one get anything near me close.
Yeah, don't touch me. Well, imagine that if Queen, most powerful matriarch in the world, gets that.
And then with all their sort of political stuff and shit like, that you have to go through of who's the next heir to the throne and all the shit they're going through and trying to get through this COVID, because there'd be no way in the world that the Storm would be sending a squad of players and staff over there to risk coming back and starting another outbreak.
Yeah,
in Australia.
Or even the players have done enough already. Pre-season's starting again soon. You can't get them over there, get them back, quarantine for 2 weeks, and then expect them to show up. Like, it's not fair on Melbourne either. Like, as a club, how do you expect them to come at the start of next season?
And if you
after playing more games than anyone last year, half of them were playing Origin, the half that weren't were on the piss for 3 weeks, and then you got to send them overseas and come back from another brutal game.
And
if
St Helens were to come here, they'd have to quarantine. And then go back and quarantine over there, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Like, it'd be a lot.
Oh, the quarantine would be worse going back there. You'd say.
Yeah, because they're in such a, and there's a more chance of one of the Saints blokes or someone do with the Saints passing it on than there would be like the Aussies, because we're in a lot better place than they are with
100%.
it. It's weird, man. Like, unfortunately won't be here, but it kind of it doesn't lost interest, but there's been a few blowouts with those tournaments, so not tournaments, it goes games, but they played it once in Melbourne, and Leeds didn't have their strongest side, and Melbourne took care of them quite comfortably, so it would have been good. They're a tough side, St Helens, and
a big Alex Warmley in the front row with James Graham in the forward.
There's a few guys busted too, like Joe Burgess played with a broken jaw. Blokes all banged up. Like, plenty of guys were pooned.
Oh, they play a tough brand of footy over there.
And that was a battle.
Yeah, but
that should have gone to...
All their jaws are very easy to get broken because they're sticking out here because they're on HGH,
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, thanks for the update.
So you're going to make a boxing joke and talk about their glass jaws that you'll break and shit, but that was a good one.
Yeah. No. I'll just break Paisley's jaw, motherfucker. So step up. I'll step up on a fucking step ladder to fight you. Have we got that 19th lockdown?
No.
One job, cunt.
No.
No, but so I've heard that there could be conflicting dates, but one of the dates is very, how do you say, like it's up in the air, so we could get that 19th at the West Mitchie for our Christmas party.
Oh, just 6 days before the big, the week before Christmas.
Yeah. So I reckon if we can do that, we're going to do it then.
And it's a hard thing too, like
special guest Mitchell Bucket.
Yeah. Get Bucket down.
All the guests are welcome.
Yeah.
Families, friends, whoever, come throw some money over the bar and we'll have a drink and get into it, and we'll just sit there and make Bucket skull like a a rodeo clown.
Well, if we get all the boys down, they could, because a lot of them don't trust the school line, so they can test the champ.
Yeah.
And Buckets bring the fucking trophy down and wear it around your fucking neck.
Who are the people you say who want to dispute it?
I think Keenan's a bit dodgy on it,
right.
and I think Jakey's a bit dodgy on it. Yeah. Paisler, he might as well shower under a beer because none of it went in his mouth.
That was a bit awful. That was a bit awful what you're saying about.
I've been practicing
and
too. I think
Max with a 450.
Max,
that's good with someone with half a brain, but
Paul Maxwell, yes, that's quite.
I've been practicing myself, boys. I think obviously not soon because that's an unbelievable time, but sometime in the near future.
Have you been practicing?
Yeah.
What, with water or something?
No, with beers. Just been getting blind. But no, I've had a few more skulls recently, so I think I might step up to the plate soon. I'm not claiming I'm going to get him, but I'll get him. Fuck you, Buckets. I'm coming for you. I'm coming for that.
See,
I want that trophy.
With Big Mitch.
Oh, yeah, that trophy's sick.
It's sick. I want it.
Even though they spelled his name wrong, but other than that, very good.
Yeah, I know.
That wasn't your fault, though.
It was my fault. Yeah.
I was trying to look after you then.
It won't matter when my name's on it, so don't worry about it. Be all good. I'll just get a
I think we'll be
pen.
waiting a while.
Yeah, probably forever. I'll never get in. That's fucking unbelievable.
And any other player movements that we got?
You go to the page. I don't. Oh, Cartwright. Ross Cartwright's officially
Yeah,
signed.
with Para.
But so that it wouldn't be giving him a lot. It's just his opportunity to try and prove himself and break into the side, and we'll see what the kid. Copley, Dale Copley, Copley. I mean, is he's signed with the Bronx.
Oh, he's back.
really?
At the
He's
Bronx.
back. Yep, back. I forgot. I heard
The
that
thing
just
with
before.
Copley is if we can keep him on the field, isn't it?
He was-
He's very
well,
injury
he was
prone.
in Queensland identification squads. And
Yeah,
that.
and when he signed to Cowboys or Titans, yeah, when he went to Titans, I was filthy because
he
he
went
was
to the Roosters first.
yeah. So Roosters and then
Then
Titans. Yeah,
that's a big-
I was filthy because I thought he was such a good prospect and he was killing it for the Bronx, and he's such a good defensive center. That's what I thought personally.
He was
but
then, and I remember when they actually played Brisbane, he was at the Roosters,
Yeah.
and he carved them up.
yeah,
Like, had a blinder. But it's just like injury and that, and with some of those guys, like in a system with the Titans a few years, they've been struggling.
Yeah.
Big strugglers. So that's affected a few blokes. A few blokes haven't liked the coaching, I would imagine, and just didn't fit in, didn't play well. Now, Holbrook's trimming in what he wants, trimming the fat away, him what blokes he doesn't feel fit his style. And they'll be giving a guy like Copley minimum, or maybe not minimum, but a small contract.
Yeah.
So he's just he might only be there as like just for depth reasons.
Bit of coverage.
Yeah, like who was Albert Kelly? Albert Kelly trained with the Broncos once, and that was only people said made it out to be something more than it did. He's actually playing for South Logan or something I've heard, and that was only like a trial and train type thing. But
Yeah, right.
Copley could force his way in because Kevy will come in with a clean slate.
Yeah,
And-
he's not one to worry about who you are or where you're from. If you just got to be performing. So hopefully it's like that all year because we've got some blokes been playing first grade for a while that haven't deserved their spot. So hopefully Kevy comes in and sorts that out. I just saw another one too. That Adam Kieran, the young half prospect from the Warriors, he signed with the Roosters.
Yeah,
On a 2-year deal.
that was talked about. So their squad finally.
So
and
He won't play. I don't think he'll play much NRL, but he'll just like in the depth chart.
yeah.
And also, how's updated on how's Jaden going? Is he out? Like, is
He's
he?
there doing the
he's over
preseason.
there.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
ripping in.
So, like, because I knew he
opportunity.
went in quarantine for a
Yeah.
couple of weeks, and so
Yeah,
now
he's
he's
out.
ripping in over
There's,
there.
they've said he's looking good.
He's bodied up at the
there's-
moment.
Oh yeah.
There's
100%.
There's a chance they could get like 13 or 14 Warriors blokes to Redcliffe in their reserves. So,
Oh, yeah.
like either way, he's got an opportunity to put his best foot forward. Like if he
Yeah.
can play some good footy, he might have to wait for an opportunity. It could be him and Sean O'Sullivan in the halves for Reddy, which you'd be surprised with.
Right. Imagine that.
Can you imagine Cam Cullen not playing, like what they'd have to do, like find a spot for them all. But if you had those three good players in a squad, you would be finding somewhere to start them. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's a good thing about Jaden. He's pretty versatile.
Fullback?
I watched him play a lot of footy at fullback, even at hooker, and in the half. So like, they'd make it work somehow. But I'm sure they'd probably rather him more at 6, especially if the Warriors are going to be having ideas of playing him at 6. Obviously, he's got some fair competition with Harris Tavita and his brother and the likes over there. So
Yeah, Harris Tavita and Nicarima's brother would probably get the first. They'd be the
Yeah.
first crack at it. But and you never know. Like they'll want depth over there, and they'll be playing them together. That Redcliffe will be a strong side on paper because they'll be. It'd be interesting to see who Redcliffe actually keep from their signings, and who they don't like to add in. But if they can keep everybody reasonably healthy in the key roles, they'll be back in the finals again because the actual Redcliffe guys they keep will be like pretty handy. Whoever they want to keep on board.
Well, it makes it sort of hard, but in a good way for Redcliffe. Like you look at it and you think, oh, we've got all these blokes and we got to try and trim the fat again, but it makes it easy because you've got that influx of NRL players coming back, so they could come around the start of next season and just pick and choose a few boys out of the side they've got now. Obviously, send a few back to BRL or whatever they got to do, and
Yeah, well, the
have a
BRL
gun.
should be strong.
Oh,
and
push down through the ranks. You know, like it's a bad headache to have with the selection for the Q Cup.
this this has been like a good thing for West Brisbane Panthers because it's helped deliver Mum and Barber to West, and West have also signed Delroy Berryman, who
I'm surprised he didn't sign for Debra.
You know, I heard about there. Delroy Berryman, who played at Reddy and played New South Wales Cup at Manly and came back. I think he was at East after that, but he's signed on at West too. He hasn't played for a couple of years, but he's lightning fast, strong as out in the swing. So they've got some finishes there. It'll be interesting too. Like so, they've had a couple of blokes in West, but we'll see how their season unfolds now. But they're back at pre-season. Everyone's got to be ripping and tearing, see what happens.
It's going to be a tough
Ripping
year.
and a tearing.
It's going to be a tough year. Everywhere,
Do you know where that ripping and tearing came from?
That guy dancing, Rick from Arizona.
Is that with Hedonism?
Yeah.
The guy that was at Hedonism?
Yeah. Rick, and he was doing that dance in his dick togs on that video. Rick from Arizona, and he starts dancing it up.
Have you heard of this, Dano, with Hedonism?
It's
So it's like a place where you'd go if you're swingers and shit. It's a place it's like down in Florida. Did you say right, man? Is it Florida or Arizona? So like heaps of couples and that they go down. It's a huge like resort that they just orgy it out the whole time. And the person that's interviewing him goes, so how are you enjoying hedonism? And he goes, you know what? I'm just a ripping and a tearing.
And he's doing
so
this dance.
he's talking about
dick togs.
pussies.
Yeah.
So he's ripping and tearing pussies. That's what he's
good.
talking about.
And he's doing this dance, like shaking it, like shaking his booty in these dick togs in the background while this guy's interviewing him.
Once the USA is in that civil war with each other over this election and shit, I might go over and join myself into that.
And hedonism?
Yeah.
Cool.
That's good.
Sounds good.
Nah.
I know.
Nah. Yeah,
You'd want to be like 2 cartons deep, I think.
Oh,
once you're allowed back in the USA,
it's funny. I saw Righty the background in the fucking film clip. He's going through. Everyone's like, "That's fucking Joe Scully."
he's just groaning in the corner.
Yeah, nice. I'm thinking of going over there and going to a friend of mine has free tickets to the Rams game, and I'll probably go to that.
Yeah, that'd be better. But Righty, are you playing quarterback for the Denver Broncos this weekend?
Well, now talk about a funny situation. All the quarterbacks have been ruled out of the Denver Broncos for a potential COVID situation. So they've got a wide receiver
we got an easy team too this week.
New Orleans Saints, where Taysom Hill has stepped in and he is slaying it. Yeah, there's going to be tough gig tomorrow.
Slaying it like Righty and hedonism.
Yeah. This is going to be pretty full on, but let's hope the Denver Broncos can get through this.
Yeah, we're looking at next season, I think, aren't we?
Yeah, we've got to start better on this draft. Got to start getting to... We need more depth in a few roles on the O-line, etc. But they played well the week before and got the money over Miami, which was good. But yeah, we need to strengthen a few positions.
So, what are you looking forward to, boys, next year? Like, do you think that we're getting back straight into a normal rugby league season?
I think that's
that's the way it's looking. Yeah,
it's the plan anyway, and at the moment it's looking increasingly likely.
And do you think the Cabaret Club opens up fully again, or?
Cabaret Club's open now, man, for guys like you.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, you've been there sniffing out the front for a while, meeting some of your clients out there with your handing out your little baggies around the corner and
just
that.
lingering around the back door.
Where old Joe from the crack den starts scratching his scabby face. Hey, Brady, how are you, brother? What have you been doing, brother? Hey, can you look after me? Joe, I'm not ticking any more up for you, okay, man? Okay. No, but Freddie, we've known each other a long time. I know, Joe, but this is a business, okay? I've got to take responsibility for things here. All right, come back to me when you have some money, man.
Yeah, so NRL next year, you reckon it's going to continue as normal? Or?
You can't brush it. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. It was a rant too. A great rant.
Unless something miraculously bad happens, like if the Warriors are basically thinking that they're going to be all back in New Zealand playing games, everyone's got this same mindset and preparing. And now Well, I know the Storm originally, they didn't think they'd be back down there. They thought they'd be doing the preseason up on the sunny coast.
Yeah.
But now they're talking like they're on. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
well,
they'll be back down there.
Borders are completely open, and Melbourne is completely.
As a Tuesday morning, eh?
And Melbourne's got Tuesday it comes in, but Melbourne have completely got no cases at the moment, and no active cases, and also they've had 0 days of 0 cases and 0 deaths for the last.
This is
month or so.
unbelievable from what was happening, how horrendous it was.
Especially when they're having a couple hundred a day to nothing.
Even Sydney was good, a lot better than Melbourne, but it was still, things were spiking up here and there.
Yeah.
And who would have thought, like, you know, that they would be at this point where, well, if someone really wanted to fly there, you could fly there later in this week.
Yeah.
You know, and things like, all those things like tourism, hospitality, things like that, all those smaller towns that thrive on people coming in to work there. Man, Melbourne couldn't handle another outbreak of it. Like, it had really fucked the poor bastards.
And the people down there would just fucking crumble. Like, obviously, my brother and his girlfriend are down there, and they fucking hate it. Like, the whole time they just complain about it non-stop. And said even the morale of the whole city, the whole state, was just dog shit. Now they're seeing a bit of light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
If something
When's he
was
getting
to
up
happen,
here?
End of January.
Should we and then we put a photo on Facebook with a sign in the jersey, or
then everyone goes, "Who's this fucking?"
Apparently,
nobody?
everywhere else they've got a lot of signings.
It's
and they
all
put
good.
them up.
Everyone else, show us who you sign in, and then we'll just beat you.
Any other footy clubs out there want to share your signings? We'll give you a bit of publicity.
It's all good.
Put it on our Any Given Monday page, or send it to us.
Yeah.
We'll announce it for you. We'll spread the word of rugby league for anyone. You got a big name, you got just a normal player, you got just a re-signing. Let us know about it, and we'll give it a plug.
Yeah.
We need to do these things in the off
doesn't matter what grade you are. I'm talking like under 7s blue at Brighton Roosters.
Yeah.
Just hook us up.
Yeah, man.
We'll
If you want, there'll be somebody who wants to know who's playing.
But anyway, we're gonna keep cranking this week in, week out through the off season, because there's always going to be topics to talk about. Next week we got a big guest, up and coming hooker called Connor Murray. Yeah, that's going to be coming on. He was meant to. Yeah, he's going to come. He was going to come on tonight. He's been asked.
Former North, now West Brisbane Panthers.
Young as shit. I didn't realise how young he was. Like you, motherfucker. And But he should be on next week, and then we'll have a chat to him. And then obviously over the break we're going to get guests on, and we got to get our boy Hamo back on for a couple times. Yeah. And then Buckets obviously
Burleigh Bears big signing.
Yeah,
Guy Hamilton.
And then Buckets is going to be on over the off season, and then we're going to sort out some bigger names. And
I'm working on a mate of mine who's actually just came off an Origin win, so hopefully I can secure
goes
that.
The dynamite.
We'll sort of see how we go.
And then if worse comes to worse, we'll just shoot porn in this studio, you know?
Yeah.
Well, it's got a good casting couch here. We got FX mics.
Human centipede stuff.
That's the spirit.
Stuck on the front.
Yeah.
100%. I'm going to go back.
Right, it's like, I want the middle.
That'd be a lot of fun.
But Righty, you want to break this bitch down? Because this has been a good podcast. I think we should leave on a high note.
That's good. Thanks again for everyone tuning in. We'll be on...
sorry.
Whoa, throw out to our sponsors.
No, I just wanted to say, so thanks to, shout out to, first of all, Dan Sullivan, who always listens up, and I think he's driving home from Rocky at the moment.
He actually tuned in on this FaceTime live.
So shout out to Sully. I want to shout out to James down at Black Sheep, because they're big supporters, listens every week, throws us the beer. Obviously, shout out to Bricklane and Steely there. He's got a couple cartons waiting that I just haven't picked up yet, and I've got to load the fridge with. Shout out to Overexertion and Maaates merchandise, and then everyone that's been listening, because we'd be expecting 10 to 12 people to be listening, but the numbers are growing week in, week out, and it's fucking crazy. And hopefully we can confirm that on the 19th, I'm fucking hoping that is just a straight Christmas party. Come and have some beers with the boys. Get signed shirts by the Wrightman. You take photos of the Wrightman. Even if you don't like the Wrightman, you like Joe Scully, you can get photos and say it's Joe Scully. And then on the 19th, hey, right?
Yeah, let's hope to get this locked in.
Yeah, hopefully. So take us out on this bitch.
Thanks again for everybody who's listening or watches here on Facebook Live or getting on Spotify, SoundCloud or YouTube. We'll keep plugging along through the off-season, getting some guests in. World's starting to look a lot better. Everyone enjoy it, get out there, get amongst it, help out the hospitality industries, help out the travel industry. If you want to go somewhere, take it up. February 28th, Uruguay playing Brazil at a yet to be disclosed location. Anybody and funny, like, what's the USA Hawks record in the since 2013? Have you won a game since then? Oh yeah, you beat Chile. That's fair enough, man.
Yeah, we did.
Anybody who's a substance abuser and needs some sort of counselling, Christian Freed is available to do that. Help set your life straight. He will set you on the right path. Freddie just told me about this girl he used to date. Her name was Chappelle. She was going on an overseas trip, and she said, "Christian, do you think I should take my boogie board with me?" And he goes, "Yeah, of course. How could it hurt? What trouble could you get into?" Christian hasn't spoken to Chappelle in 15 years, so if Chappelle could...
and now she's on Australia SAS.
Yes. So look what happened there. She took a longer journey, but she has kept her fame. Anyway, we'll be
Gravity
back.
really affected those
shout
kids.
out to the Ferny Grove Tab. I had a beer there today, and it didn't suck ass. You actually had people in there. I thought I was in the wrong pub. Maintain that. I won't hate you as much, and I will try and give you actually wraps. We'll be back next week.
Right, we can confirm the 19th soon, as soon as we can.
Well, yeah, anybody listening or watching from West Mitchie, if we can get in on the 19th, can you please send us a message? All right, we'll be back. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for anyone who just likes our show. All right, remember, don't be a mercenary. Stay loyal. Ta-ta.
So, lads.
Cheers, boys.